So speaking of, taking ideas, taking us where they are. When we were talking about this book, I said, Patrick, this book would make a great, book for a critical thinking class. This I'm
I
talking
agree,
about tactics.
actually. I'm glad to hear you say that.
And so, I said, maybe this is full of informal logic, and this is really, really good.
Yeah.
So, we jokingly, I said, but isn't he giving away, all of his secrets?
Yeah.
I mean, he's letting everybody know what the strategy or the tactics are.
Yeah, I actually included some of that in the footnotes where I talked about in the game plan, the 3-step game plan. And the first issue is to gather information, and we use a question called, what do you mean by that? But that's the first step of critical thinking. If you want to think critically about an issue, you've got to get the issue itself right and in clear focus. That's first step. And then the next step is, what are the reasons that people would hold that idea? And that's how do you come to that conclusion? So, and then there's an analysis phase. So in a certain sense, that is a very simple way of characterizing the process of critical thinking. You're right. I'm flattered that you saw that. I'm with you on that one, man.
That'll be for the 20th anniversary edition.
Yeah. So why'd you write the book?
Yeah.
Well, what had happened over the years of me engaging, and I started radio in 1990, and 4 years before we started Stand to Reason, and because I'm now, it's not just in my casual encounters with people that I'm engaging, but now I'm engaging in a much wider audience on the air. I'm reflective on how I can best present the gospel. Okay. And I tend to be on the left brain side. I mean, obviously, I think for most people, and so that's the direction I'm going. I'm just kind of being myself. And as I look back over the years of doing this, I realized, there are very particular things that I'm doing intentionally that if I isolate them, itemize them, look at them, I can refine them and do them better. And I can also transfer those concepts to other people. And so I noticed, for example, that some points of view self-destruct. And actually, they self-destruct in different kinds of ways. Some just self-destruct in themselves. You say there is no truth. Well, is that true? Kind of thing. Or like, I can't speak a word in English. Well, what was that I thought I just heard, kind of thing. So some things are immediately and internally incoherent and self-destructive. But then there are other times where you have in practice that they become self-destructive. So if you might believe that it's wrong to tell anybody else they're wrong, but the minute you say that, then you're violating your own conviction, and so that's a practical, what I call suicide. And so as I began to look at these things and refine them, I saw that there are different particular ways that these could be characterized. I gave names to them, like suicide in that particular case, whether it's formal suicide or practical suicide or sibling rivalry suicide. I was in an event once and people were complaining about this particular event was showcasing a movie that I got a chance to, with the author, with the writers and directors, sit on the stage afterwards and talk about. And it was the issue of the Holocaust came up, and people were saying, yeah, what kind of God would do that? Allow that? Well, common question, understandable. And then, somebody mentioned something about judgment and punishment. And then what kind of, that's a nice God, judging everybody. And I said, well, wait a minute. You notice what just happened? You guys have two objections that are opposing each other. You can either have God not doing anything or him doing something, but you can't complain at both ends. That's right. A sibling rivalry is what I call that. So anyway, over time, these things began to flesh themselves out. And at the time, this was the, early 90s. And Craig Hazen, who runs the Apologetics MA program at Biola now, he was actually running the program at Simon Greenleaf University. So I was under Craig. Now, I had graduated from there, but he was still running classes there before I moved over to Biola. And he asked me to come in, and he was the one who challenged me to put this together in a more formal presentation. So that was the first time that I actually taught the tactics, such as they were at the time. And I wrote the book now 11 years ago, the initial book. And just before it went to press, I was thinking the Columbo tactic, which is the question asking tactic, I realized is actually the game plan and all the rest of the tactics serve the game plan. So I had him split the book in two parts: the game plan and the rest, kind of deal. And that's kind of the genesis of the whole project. And as time went on, I've just been adding to it or refining it or finding better ways to explain it.